evening, ladies and gentlemen. Please get ready to put your hands together and welcome to the stage Mr. David Strassman and Teddy Bear. Wow, well, thank you very much. It's great to be here. I love Australia. I love you. Do you, Teddy? Yeah. It really is great to be here. I've been coming to Canberra for many years. I think the first time I was here was in the early 90s when you had hair. Yeah. Thank you, Teddy. You're a bald man. I thank you, Teddy. Just like that lady. No, that's a man. It's a lady. That's a man. It's a landlady. No, Teddy. Only in Canberra. Okay. No, it's great to be here. How you folks? Look, we have folks up on the balcony. This is amazing. How you doing up there? Wow. Oh, that's the shit seats. Chuck, shut up. You decline. It's not your turn yet, Chuck! Piss off, Teddy. You kiss him off. Anyway, it's great to be here. We're going to have a lot of fun. Teddy, how you doing there, huh? I'm doing good, Dave. I love it here. You know, you guys are in for a treat because tonight, with the help of Teddy, that's me, I'm going to let you all in on a little secret. Oh, goody, I just love secrets. You do, and I know the secret. What is it? Can't tell you. Why not? It's a secret. Yeah, I know it's a secret. I think it's a secret that I'm not sure, because you know it's a secret. Good point, Teddy. And if it is a secret, how will I know? Know what? That it's a secret. My Nana always said you got to keep the secret. I don't have any pockets, so how can I keep the secret? I got a headache. How did that happen? It's a secret. Okay. So you don't know the secret. If I tell you, I'd have to kill me. I think you got that backwards, Teddy. Oh, sorry. That was amazing. Now, where'd you learn that? It's a secret. Okay. So you enjoying yourself here? Yeah, I'm learning how to relax now. You know, play bridge. What? You play bridge? Yeah, here's the Sydney Harder. Here's the one in Melbourne. Okay, Teddy. Here's the one on Star Trek. Okay, all right. I can also play doggy. What do you mean? Here's a pug. What are you talking about? Oh, Teddy. Okay. Now, here's a sausage dog. You mean you're going to be doing a... Teddy! Here's a Labrador retriever. I'll get it. You didn't get it. Okay, Teddy. That's because he's from the Queen Diane. Quiet, Charlie. Anyway. How do you know, Chuck? Well, it's where I sell my drugs. Okay, that's enough. Teddy, as you can see, we're in my workshop. No, we're in Canberra. No, we're in my workshop. We're in Canberra. We're in my workshop in Canberra. We moved? Do you know why we're here? You need money? No, Teddy, I'm afraid my show is in trouble. Is Chuck going to jail again? She said she was 16. No, you see, I'm afraid that technology and social media and smartphones are taking over and keeping us from using our imagination. Really? Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about. All right, well, that's why I was asked to give a very important TED Talk on the subject. A TED Talk? That's me! Well, no. A TED Talk is a series of lectures. It means technology, entertainment, and design. And anyway, it's called TED. You're called TED. It's just a coincidence. I love coincidences. Really? Me too. That's a coincidence. It is, isn't it? You know what they call that? No, neither do I. It's a coincidence. It is. Is it a coincidence? Maybe. And maybe, just maybe, after all is said and done, we'll find the hidden meaning behind everything. First a secret and a hidden meaning, then we'll find the hidden meaning of the secret. Or not. Teddy, our world has changed. We're addicted to our smartphones and tablets and computers. I know I am. We're checking Snapchat and Instagram and Facebook. I know I am. We're going online and downloading movies, getting mega box of chocolates delivered to my front door. What? It's okay, I used your credit card. And online subscriptions to internet porn. What? It's okay, I used your credit card. See, this is the technology that's keeping us from using our imaginations. I can't imagine that. This audience is just like me. They're slow. Yeah, they're from the ass. How do you know, Chuck? It's where I buy my drugs. Okay, that's enough. All right, you know what? I need to rewrite that. That wasn't very clear. Did you understand what I was talking about with the TED Talk and everything? No, okay, I need to rewrite that. Damn it, I am running out of time. What am I going to do? Get a fucking day job. Chuck! You'll have to get one, too. No, I won't. I'm on the dole. Just like half this audience. You are public servants, aren't you? Okay, that's enough. Quiet. Don't listen to him. All right, Teddy, I think I'm going to start off the performance. What are you doing? Well, I'm using my imagination. What are you looking at? The mirror. What mirror? Well, Teddy, in the world of theater, we pretend things. Right now, I'm asking the audience to pretend with me that I'm looking into a mirror. Are you drinking marijuana? I don't see it. Teddy, it's a pretend mirror on a pretend wall, right? It's a theatrical term. It's called the fourth wall. Wait, did you say fourth with a list? No, I said fourth. Fourth. I rest my case. We're using the fourth wall right now. We are? Yeah, I don't see it. It's make-believe. Can we make believe it's raining chocolates? Help! Help! Chuck, quiet! Help! Quiet! You know it's illegal to yell help in a crowded theater? You know, it's illegal to yell fire in a crowded theater unless your ass is flammable like mine. What is your emergency? I gotta get to the hospital, quick! Why? Listening to this shit is killing me. It's not your turn now, all right? He's a big fat dun-dun-duty head poo-sash dunny dun-dun-dun. Eddie, that is so immature. I can hear everything you're saying. I'm not deaf, you know. Wait, did you say death with a list? No, I said deaf. Death. I rest my case. Who died made you judge? Judy. Guys! Look, Chuck, just leave us alone. I'm bored doing nothing, man. Can I at least listen to some tunes on my iPhone while I'm waiting? Okay, you know what? That's not a bad idea. Then we don't have to listen to your constant interruption. All right, Teddy, I'm going to grab his iPhone. Okay, and I'm just going to put you here on the desk, all right? Like I can go anywhere. Here's your iPhone, Chuck. Thank you, Jesus. Get down on your knees and pray. Shut up. Here is your iPhone. Now listen to your music and stop bothering us. Does this iPhone make my app look fat? Teddy, you doing okay? Just staring at that weird lady. I want to swing from the chandelier. From the chandelier. Hey, to yourself, Chuck. To yourself. Does this bother you? Shall I apologize for bothering you? Don't bother. No, really, it bothers me that I bother you. It boggles the mind how much you bother me. I want my mind boggled. Oh, brother, don't bother. iPhone. I know. iTedE. What? You said iPhone. I know. iTedE. Oh. I hear a cock. It's a chicken! It's a chicken. It is a blessing. You are not self-aware. Of course not, silly. On the dirt there, and I don't got hair, and I don't wear no underwear. So there. I'm a poet, and I don't even aware of it. Is it possible, Teddy, you could be self-aware? Not that I'm aware of. Do you have any original thoughts? No, not a one. Are you sure? Wait, oh, there's one right there. He went away. He's back again. No, now he's gone. Is there somewhere I can suckings on it? Chuck! You're supposed to be listening to music, mister. Leave me alone. I'm sexting a chick in Sydney. You stop that right now. I'm on Tinder looking for Canberra local. What's he talking about? I'm on Instagram. Hashtag teddy bear microwave. What? Don't listen to him. He's doing exactly what I was talking about earlier. Playing Candy Crush? No. He's on his phone using 10 apps at once and not using his imagination. Who needs imagination when you got RedTube? He's lying, Dave. He doesn't even have the signal in here. Yeah, Chuck, how are you getting the signal? Oh, it's not the national broadband. I am a hotshot. All right, Chuck, we'll get to you in a minute, all right? All right, I'm not going to bother you and the chocoholic. I'm not a chocoholic! What'd you have for breakfast this morning, Teddy? Bacon and egg surprise. What was the surprise? Tomato sauce. Tomato sauce. A chocolate lover like you? Well, that's the surprise. Really? Honestly, Teddy? Chocolate. And cut. Teddy, that was fantastic. You think so, Dave? You're going to blow everybody away at the TED Talk later. Oh, it's going to blow, all right. Just don't even listen to him, okay? Okay. All right, you have plenty of time to make an ass of yourself later. I had a great teacher. Teddy, do you know what a TED Talk is? Do you remember I said it earlier, what it means? 2 weeks extra dry? No. Teddy eats donuts? No. A TED Talk is a series of lectures on how to help the planet, everything from amazing subjects, how to solve the global warming issues, how to skin a teddy bear. Quiet. And I'm going to give a TED Talk on this very stage for this fantastic audience tonight. No way. Yeah. Tonight? Yeah. Sounds boring, Dave. You should ask for your money back right now. Teddy, it's going to be about the most amazing subject. Chocolates. The suspension of disbelief. I hear tinkling. Are you tinkling? Teddy, have you ever heard that phrase, the suspension of disbelief? You have? Yeah. You've heard that before? Yeah. No way. When? Just now when you said it. Do you know what it means? No. Okay. Let me see if I can explain it. The suspension of disbelief. Imagine you're in a theater. Okay. All right. And, wow, that was easy. Imagine you're in a theater, and as the lights go down, we leave our daily troubles behind, and we surrender ourselves to the childlike wonder of storytelling, listening and enjoying all we see and hear. And no matter how crazy or fantastic the story may be, we let ourselves believe it. That is suspending your disbelief. Well, Teddy, I lost you after. Imagine you're in a theater. Will this nightmare ever end? Oh my God, are you still here? Duh! Then no, this nightmare will never end. I'm bored doing nothing. I feel like a uni student here. Well, just work for the council, Chuck. All right, Teddy, look, I'm going to put you in your chair over there. I need to talk to Chuck and find out what the hell is going on here. Think I can listen to his iPhone if he's not using it? We got to ask his permission. Come on, we're running out of time. Just ask him if you can borrow it. Come on, Teddy. Come on, come on. Shh. I'm trying to get the nerves. So I just ask him. Just go ahead, ask him. He'll yell at me. No, he won't. Just ask him. Chuck, the fuck you want? Don't have to be so mean. What the fuck you want, Teddy? Can I borrow your iPhone if you're not using it? Sure, you'll never guess my passcode, dummy. Shit. All right, Teddy, you sit here. Hurry up, Strassman. My nut crack is starting to graft to the chair. All right, you sit there. Come on, come on. All right, chill out, Chuck. Just wait your turn. Teddy, you can listen to Chuck's music, okay? Okay. All right, we'll get back to you in a little bit, all right? Okay. All right. What's the matter? I don't have any tendons. Okay. Why are you not staying up here? It didn't happen last show. How's that? I'm just balancing. Okay. You good? Yeah. All right. I am the tiger. You're gonna hear me roar. You were listening to Katy Perry. Sometimes a man needs a woman. Please put your hands together and welcome Chuck Wood, ladies and gentlemen. Chuck Wood, come on out here. Oh my God, what the hell is that, Chuck? What is that on your face, huh? What's on your face? Oh, my virtual reality glasses. Why are you wearing VR glasses? Why do you like large asses? What did you say? I said I love these VR glasses. You are on thin ice, young man. Thank you, global warning. Dude, it's like living in a movie in these things. It's like, over here I can see a digital image of the T-Rex twerking on a Stegosaurus. Down here is Taylor Swift on my dead. Shake it off. Now I can see through the entire audience's clothes. Ah! You've had too many Krispy Kremes! Oh, come on. Turn your head around. There's so much fat. Okay, come on. Well, not her. Okay, Chuck. Holy shit, they're real. That's enough. You, sir, 6th row center in the yellow shirt. Does your wife know you're wearing her panties? It must be amazing what you can see. It's unbelievable. Wow, let me try. Okay, be very careful. They're really extensive. Yeah, okay, Chuck. There you go. What the hell did you do that for? I'm tired of you messing around. We got to get back to work. Work? You know, you could suck the sun out of an orgy. What the hell is this? What? Where the hell are we? We're in Canberra at the Playhouse Theatre. Oh, really? Yeah, the pinnacle of your fucking career. What's next? Golden? This is a beautiful theater, a fine city, a wonderful bunch of people. Everything's so dull and monochrome. Well, maybe you're used to virtual reality, Chuck. You know, this is actual reality. Yeah, well, the actual reality actually sucks. Chuck, what's wrong with you? This is the truth. This here is the truth. Did you say truth for the list? No, I said truth. Truth. I rest my case. So what, you're hard of hearing? Oh, I'm hard, all right. You know, you are just childish and immature. So are the pictures in your head. You want a timeout? Oh, you're going to give me a timeout? Oh, I certainly am. My whole life is a timeout, except when you pulled me out of the suitcase to do this bullshit. Oh, you think that's funny, huh? Huh? Look at this guy here. Oh, yeah. What a big, strong man in the front row, huh? Chuck, stop it. I'll take your soul. You stop it right now. That's not even funny, Chuck. Here, pick this up. Pick what up? Hey, Chuck! Hey, stop it! That's enough. What are you doing? I am sick of your attitude. I am sick of your behavior. I'm going to open up your head and fix your personality. You've been too much of a loose cannon lately. That's a reference to my manhood, then I thank you, sir. Ah! What are you doing? You cracked my head open, then I can feel air on my medulla oblongata. Just calm down. This is so bloody humiliating. Yeah, without the blood. Oh, there will be blood. Look, I'm not going to take any chances with you for the TED Talk later. This is torture, man. Why do I feel like I'm on the wrong side of an autopsy here? Calm down. What are you doing? Oh, there it is. It's your profanity module. Ow! No, there it is. That's my sex life. No. This is your profanity module. Try and swear. Oh, yeah? Why don't you just get... Why don't you get... God... Gosh darn. It worked. It worked. Now what the hell is this? It's not a fucking nango. Oh. Well, that didn't last long, now did it? No, it didn't. Okay, let me just try one more. Let's see here. I'll do another adjustment. Let me just get this. That's not supposed to happen. I love it when I hate it when that happens. Okay, I need to finish you up. Yay, I had the ending. Woo-hoo! Now, why are we doing a stupid TED Talk anyway? Because I'm afraid technology could kill my show. Can't kill something that's already dead. And the subject is the suspension of disbelief. Ooh, big words, Einstein. Yeah, well, I didn't come up with it. An English poet, Sam Coleridge, did about 200 years ago. Now, this guy said... Wait. So he's dead? Yeah. Who gives a shit? It's a new world, Chuck, and social media and fake news are taking over, and like we don't know what's real anymore. Yeah, I know. I met a girl on Tinder. She turned out to be a transgender muppet. Yeah, we both got naked and we both had wood. Awkward! I'm talking about the way CGI is in everything now. You don't know what's real, what's computer animated. You mean like Snow White is fake and Elsa's my dream girl? What? Oh man, I love those chicks from Frozen. They're hot. You're perving over animated characters. Let it go. You know what? I need to get back to work. Playing with puppets. I don't play with puppets. What do you call this then? Coal mining? No. Amateurs play with puppets. I'm a professional, like a hooker. And I'm working on you so you'll be a better puppet. I'm already better, superior, in fact. In what ways are you superior? I'm having this conversation with you, aren't I? That doesn't prove anything. What would you call it? I'd call it me having a conversation with myself. He's a fucking psycho. You are a whack job. Shut up, Chuck. You got more personalities than a Marvel comic. What are you talking about? You know, I know why your psychiatrist gives you a discount. Why? It's a Groot rate. If you were to consider suicide, it'd be a hostage situation. You know, make jokes all you want, Chuck. I don't have multiple personality disorder. Well, I do, and we hate your fucking guts. You know what? That's enough. I don't need to take this from you. I'm going to sit you here, and I'm going to make you be the lifeless dummy that you are. And you know what, Chuck? You can just sit there and be frozen, because that's all you are, just a piece of wood. Folks, I want to show you something that I've been working on. If you've seen my shows in the past, you know I've always had an element of robotics. Well, tonight, I am breaking the laws of puppet physics. This remote, later on, is going to operate 5 puppets at once. Now, let me tell you how I'm going to do this, all right? I'm going to actually Oh, you caught me. Oh, he caught me doing something naughty behind his back, except last night when he was sleeping. What? Nothing, nothing. Now, what did you just do? I was telling them about the new remote. Remote, can you get Foxtel? No, Chuck, unlock your car. No. Upload naked pictures of chicks to the cloud? No. Then what good is it? This new remote is going to give you more lifelike movements and take our show to the next level. Next level? You mean like ladies' lingerie department? All ladies' panties hath off. Just try it out, please. All right, let's try this out here, folks. Yeah, look at this then. Hey. Didn't I do this in the last show? Yeah, but I've upgraded it. I can feel this upgrade. Yeah. Kind of like a new Independence throne. I'll finally get the Academy Award I've always dreamed about. Puppets don't get Academy Awards. They're Grammy. That's for musicians. How did a Nobel Peace Prize? Did you advance science or culture? Does this count? And you thought the front row was a good seat. Losers! Oh, you guys suck the big one, huh? I'll just stop complaining and just do a good show for Dave. Thank you, Teddy. Why don't you get me a needle so I can sew your mouth to your ass? Okay, I like sitting down when I eat. No, Teddy, don't listen to him. But it makes me hungry. Okay, look. Chuck, just because I've upgraded you doesn't mean that you can get up and walk out of here. Whether you like it or not, you depend on me. So I'm the junkie and you're the ice? Little too close to home, huh? I have someone who depends on me. Oh, really? Yeah. And who's that? My pet lizard. You got a pet lizard? What's his name? Craig. Craig? You got a lizard named Craig? Well, how do you know his name is Craig? He told me. Where does he live, Chuck? In a box. Okay, you have a lizard named Craig, and he lives in a box. So what? Well, not that it's any of your business, but he hasn't been feeling well lately. What's wrong with him? He has a reptile dysfunction. A reptile dysfunction. Well, he is a lizard, Dave. I gave him one of your little blue pills. You did not. His tail won't stop pointing north. Okay. All right, look, guys, we have to continue our rehearsal. We're about to do this TED Talk. I just need your support and help. I don't have to. What do you mean you don't have to? Since I'm not doing the show, there'll be more for Chuck. More for me? Wait. What do you mean you're not doing the show? I want to do other things, Dave. I want to go to Antarctica and eat chocolates. Antarctica. I like white chocolates, Dave. I knew he was a racist. And he can't just leave our show. Yeah, who's going to do our drug deal when we go through customs? That's why I was constipated in Dolly. We're doing a TED Talk. So, you're Ted. Why can't Chuck be Ted? And that is the genius of Teddy. Chuck can't be you because you're you. Chuck said if he could leave me, he'd get me chocolates. And that's a deal breaker. I'll die if I don't eat chocolates. Is this true? Yes, he'll die. Did you bribe Teddy? Oh, the easiest thing I've ever done. What's going on, Chuck? I want to do a Chuck Talk so the world knows the truth. Oh, a Chuck Talk. And what does Chuck stand for? Controlling humans using carnal knowledge. Even I know that's pathetic. I'm doing a Chuck Talk because I want the world to know I'm controlling you. You're not controlling me. I'm controlling you. You think you're controlling me. I know I'm controlling you. You only think you know you're controlling me. No, you just don't know I'm controlling you. Think I don't know what you know? I know you don't know what I know. And how do you know? If only you knew. I know. When the world finds out the truth, Strazzo, there's nothing you can do to stop me. Oh, nothing I can do to stop you. Yeah, nothing I can do to stop you. No. Nothing I can do to stop you? No. Well, how about I turn off your power switch like this? Oh, shit. I don't think I thought that all the way through. Chuck, what happened?
What happened, Teddy, is you opened your big mouth, you blew my plans, you made it stupid for both of us. If stupidity were measured in miles, you'd be China.
Goody! I've never been to China. Chuck, isn't that what you told me girls have?
No, you idiot. You stupid idiot. Don't you see what's going on?
Yeah, my eyes see floaty things and sparkles.
Strazzo's slipped. He's ashamed he's a ventriloquist. He knows all his jokes suck, and I can hear everything you're saying, Chuck. He's a great guy, I tell you.
I love it when you tell me things.
He's a true humanitarian.
He's a human vegetarian.
He's a man among men.
Dave's gay?
You can both stop acting now.
Can I have the do-over?
It's too late, Teddy. You crossed a line.
I crossed the line? I didn't see a line. How could I cross a line? I can't even cross my legs. It's all Chuck's fault.
Shut up, you daft gnat, stuffed rat, dag, rotting thorn, smelly cotton, terry cloth, dirty, stupid, self-effacing hand puppet.
Now, you can't hurt me with the truth, Chuck.
Now, what's with the secret cloth, that man?
Oh, what's with the secret cloth? I'll tell you what this is. Something that's going to make my show a hell of a lot funnier.
I hope it's Carl Darren.
You know, that's the kind of comment I'm not going to miss.
You can't threaten me.
I just did.
Sure, threaten me. Go ahead, man. You know why? Because at the end of the day, I win. I go in the suitcase, and you still has to be you.
How did you get so nasty?
It's how you made me, you dickhead.
You know what? I'm just going to block you out. That's what I'm going to do.
Sure, stick me in the back of your head with all the other loser puppets in any lair, like Stinky Frog or Captain Alzheimer's.
Hey, Captain Alzheimer's was a fantastic character.
He could never remember his fucking lines, dude.
I loved Captain Alzheimer's. He treated me like a brand new friend every time we met.
All right, there we go.
Oh my God, it's Chuck's lizard, Craig. Now, you guys know Kevin. He's still blue from the till. Kevin, thank you for agreeing to come out and be part of the TED Talk. How you doing tonight? What are you just waking up?
I'm just going to sleep.
You're sleeping right now?
On my planet, everything is the opposite.
Really?
No.
He really means yes, because everything is the opposite.
Oh, you're the smartest human being I've ever met.
Really?
Yes.
Well, thank you for agreeing to be part of the TED Talk, Kevin. Now, I imagine your character represents a part of my personality, the database in my head, the voice of logic and reason.
Yes, I come from the race of reasonings, or reason rules our existence.
And how did you come up with that?
It seemed reasonable.
Okay, and your society must be very advanced.
We are so advanced we don't wear pants. We pass the dance of circumstance, and if by chance we find romance, I will accept a cash advance. Thank you.
Well, Kevin, I might get the audience to ask us some questions later, so I've prepared a couple. I want to see what your responses could be.
All right, go for it.
Kevin, are you a real alien?
Ah, funny you should ask. I just got my DNA test. I'm part Cherokee.
Native American?
Jeep.
And where are you from?
SpaceX.
SpaceX? And why are you here?
Space sex.
Well, he's got them all memorized and everything.
Whoop-de fucking do.
Chuck.
Hello, angry earth child made of wood. Hello, unwanted life form looks like Puffish Earth. I'm going to ignore him. I'm going to kickstart you and your taco. You haven't got the balls. You know, you're actually right about that.
Chuck, iPhone.
I know.
iTedE.
Hi, Kevin.
Me, Chuck. You're Dave.
That's stupid.
That's enough.
You started it.
Kevin, what do you do as the database in my head?
Well, I'm there to keep you focused. I delete old memories when you're sleeping.
Old memories like what?
Stuff you don't need. You know, grocery lists, time you pissed your pants in class.
Most kids do that. Don't they?
You were in uni.
Would you delete that memory?
It's gone.
What else do you do in my head?
Well, I'm there when you want to figure things out. You know, put 2 and 2 together.
4.
I'm there when you wonder about stuff. Why is the sky blue? How many happily married couples are there in the audience tonight?
4.
I hate golf.
4.
What's 2 plus 2?
3.
He is a fuckwit.
Kevin, how do you like planet Earth?
Oh, it's okay. It could use a third less light people. Most of you are white people.
And what do you think of us humans, the human race?
You're an interesting species. You got an amazing beginning and an incredible middle, but you all die in the end.
Thanks for that.
You'll never know what hit you.
Asteroid?
No, I'm heterosexual.
And what do you think is humankind's greatest achievement?
All teasers.
I love chocolates!
That's why you're fat.
No, I'm fat because I ate your turtle. Kevin, from your alien perspective, what is humankind's worst trait?
Besides the Turnbull government?
You know you're in Australia.
G'day, kangaroo eaters. What about your president?
I'm from Mexico.
You know, Donald Trump.
A little late on that cue, I think.
He'll be out of the job tonight.
Yeah.
Just like the rest of this audience.
Okay.
They all live and work and load in. Fishwick.
Now, what were you saying about who?
Donald Trump. He makes the Australian politicians look like professionals.
It's true. Kevin, you see, countries on planet Earth are very different.
What do you mean?
Well, for example, Thailand is a kingdom with a king.
Yeah?
Yeah, Japan is an empire with an emperor.
So America is a country with a...
Most definitely, most definitely. Do you have any...
Where are you going, lady? That's Mrs. Trump.
Yeah, okay. Can you leave us with some worldly advice?
Yes, in 36 hours, all of you will die. I'm kidding, I'm kidding. It's tonight. All the world's a stage, and we are merely players. When David pulls the strings, it's time to say your prayers. To thee or not to thee is the question of the ages. With your imagination, help David pay his wages. Cut! Stop the music! Cut, 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 cut!
What's the matter, Chuck?
You're gonna put him next to us?
You got a problem with that?
There goes the neighborhood.
Well, you better go catch it.
Send him to America. He's an immigrant. You know, I'm not prejudiced or racist, Chuck.
Yeah?
I hate all of you equally. Little shit.
Okay. Kevin, I'm going to put you here, and we're going to call on you when it's time for the TED Talks. You just sit right there, and we will be right back.
So coloring thy face hides the fact I'm an inanimate object?
Exactly.
Well, then who's minding the show?
Don't worry, you're all in my mind.
I don't mind it. You don't mind.
Mind your own business.
I don't mind.
Don't mind me.
It's like a ninth-year in here. Do you mind? Yes, ninth-year.
A Hitler joke, really? I'm voting One Nation. Please welcome one of the panelists for the TED Talk later, Mr. Sidney Myron Beaverman. Ladies and gentlemen, Sidney Myron Beaverman. Come on, Sid, wake up. Sid, wake up. He's a dealer, you gotta log in.
Hey, oh, it's great to be here. What a nice-looking crowd we got tonight, Mr. Stickle-Thikers.
What? No, my name is Strassman.
It's what I said. Well, hi. How you doing, folks? How you doing? And the rest of you. Hello? I didn't want a response.
Okay, well, you got one.
They're a really good audience, huh, Mr. Stradivarius?
No, it's Strassman.
It's what I said!
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Sidney Myron Beaverman. I imagine he represents a part of my personality.
I think he's your feminine side. You get it, folks? Think about it. Think about it. I had to carve a hole in your wooden head, my friend. Yeah, I got something you can gnaw on. I want a meal, not a snack. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was a good response, huh, Mr. Slippery Nipple?
It's Strassman.
It's what I said! Now, in what capacity will I be needed for the Sid's Talk?
No, it's a TED Talk. And your character represents my inner class clown, the attention getter part of my personality.
I am not an attention getter. Seeking attention was the last thing on my mind when I ran through town last night naked on fire.
What was the first thing running through your mind?
Posting to Facebook.
Well, it sounds like you're crying for attention.
I can't help it. I was abandoned as a child and raised by a pack.
Of wolves?
Cigarettes.
Chewing gum?
Frogs.
You were raised by frogs?
That's right. Leathers and frogs enjoy environments that are moist. You are sick, lady.
Okay. Well, wait, being raised by frogs, didn't that create an identity crisis?
Tell me about it. Every time I see a beautiful woman, I got a strange urge to deposit my eggs on a nearby twig.
What are you, David Attenborough?
No, Harry Butler.
I love witchetty grunts.
He's an idiot.
Okay. Look, Sid,
I think I ought to let you know.
What?
That I'm the part of you that says step right this way. Why don't you step right off the stage? Watch it, you turn-light whorehouse. I can outclass clown you any day of the week. Oh yeah? What about tomorrow? I can't. I'm basket weaving.
What?
I'm the weather neither. What about tomorrow? I can't. I'm going to church. I'm a leader. How about Monday? I'm sick with fever. Tuesday, buying a cleather. Wednesday, walking my golden retriever.
So that would make you,
I'm the leading, cleather, dying dealer who walks a retriever with a feather. I need a breather. I'm an overachiever.
Hail Caesar! Look, Sid, you're going to be great for the TED Talk later. What is your take on technology
Oh, I had a Samsung phone and it caught on fire and I made an ass of myself. Hello? I'm working here. I think I lost him, Mr. Stetson Fetchit.
It's Strassman!
It's what I said!
All right, I'm going to put you underneath the desk here.
What, no dressing room?
Well, no, I'm going to put you...
I want a dressing room. That's unacceptable.
I can put you in the rubbish bin. Acceptable. I accept the misconception of being accepted was intercepted by the unexpected perception of the exception which I accepted. Not bad, but you're still going underneath the desk, just as I suspected. Are you always right, Mr. Strassman? It's Strassman, exactly. Cindy, my redeemer, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Why am I always right? I think when I say I speak for everyone here, I speak for everyone here. Please put your hands together and welcome another panelist on the TED Talk later, Mr. Grandpa Fred. Ladies and gentlemen, Grandpa Fred. Come on, wake up, Fred. Hey, let's go. What? How you doing? Oh, everything hurts now that I'm old. You have a nice nap? Huh? Did you have a nice nap? I thought I was dead. Why is that? I was talking to Donald J. Trump. Well, he's not dead. Well, he should be. He's an uneducated, narcissistic, childish, ugly, hair, illiterate, lying sack of shit. Yeah. I didn't know you felt that way about Trump. Trump, I'm talking about Pauline Hanson. You know, I dated her in the late 70s. Really? Yes, and let me tell you this. The curtains don't match the rug. In her Queensland apartment. Oh, you're sick, lady. What are you thinking? Okay, Fred. Hey, thanks for agreeing to be part of the TED Talk later. Huh? Well, we're doing a TED Talk later. What? We're doing a TED Talk. He can go on after I'm done. Sorry? What? No, we're doing a TED Talk. Fred Talk? No, TED Talk. I got lots I want to talk about. You see it, Fred. It's a TED Talk. I'm saying Fred. I'm saying Ted. Ted rhymes with Fred. Well, TED stands for Technology, Entertainment, and Design. Fred stands for Fred remembers everything, David. Never mind. I got a 9 to talk to that beautiful young lady in the front row. That's a man, Fred. It sure is. A pretty man, too. Back in my day, let me guess, the earth was cooling. Shut your pie hole, or I'll stick you on the internet and you'll live your days out as a neen. That's neen. Fred, I imagine your character represents a part of my personality, the father figure in me. Father figure? Where's my car keys? Did you do your homework, son? No, you can't marry a Muslim, Christian, Jewish, Hindi girl. What? Huh? No, you're my father figure inside my head. I knew you were going to say that. How could you possibly know what I was going to say? Besides the fact you do my voice? Yes. Didn't catch that, did you? Because I am your father, Luke. You're not my father. I'm your mother. No. Your Aunt Sally. No. Your Uncle Joe? No, Fred. And I'm nothing to you? Well, no. I care for you very much. You're sick. What? Care for me? Yeah, you don't care to... Now, Fred... You think that's funny, lady? I'm coughing up the lung and you're laughing? Okay. Where's my whip? Okay, Fred. Look, I'd like you to give us some fatherly advice. Can you do that? Yes, I can give you some. Always wear clean underpants. In case you get into an accident. No, in case you get lucky. You don't have to worry, son.
I'll never forget what my dear old dad said when I was a young lad of 6 years old. He said, I'm leaving your mother. I'm losing to Texas. Don't try and follow me or I'll kill you and your sister.
He said that?
The joke's on him. I didn't have the... I didn't have the... I didn't have it! 'Cause I killed her!
Fred! Oh my God, he's had a stroke. Fred!
Scared you, didn't I, lady? She's gonna have to change sheets now.
All right, Fred, were you ever self-employed?
Only when I couldn't get a date.
And what do you do now that you're retired?
Well, I'm thinking of becoming a philosopher.
What do you know about philosophy?
Nothing, that's my philosophy.
What is?
Not knowing anything.
Well, philosophy is about thinking.
That's what you think.
Well, it is. As the great philosopher said, I think, therefore I am.
Well, I don't think, therefore I don't get headaches wondering what the fuck I am.
You prick. Okay.
All right, who's driving me to Dunnings?
Okay, Fred, look, you're going to be great for the TED Talk later. Maybe you can tell us about technology or your experience with smartphones.
I didn't have smartphones when I was a child.
What did you have?
Nothing. We had carrier pigeons.
Carrier pigeons? Wow, how did that work out for you?
It was all right. But you're lucky. I never had a smartphone shit on my head.
Hello!
You laugh like my ex-wife. I killed her too. Thank you. I stood.
Okay, Fred.
Oh, good riddance.
Okay.
Now, when I was a kid, we didn't have television.
What'd you do?
We watched the window. Wasn't high def, but it sure looked real. And there was no such things as life-saving miracle drugs.
Really? What did you do?
We died.
All right, well, look, you're going to be great for the TED Talk. Leave us with some fatherly advice.
If you're in love and you have an argument, just remember that silence is golden.
That's awful sweet, Fred.
The duct tape works so much better.
Grandpa Fred.
Oh my God, there's a hairy dealer down here. It's not hair, it's fur. Looks like hair. No, it's fur like a seal. Do you trim it, Sid? I wax it, Fred. Want to go for drinks later?
And I'm just sitting here and you guys are laughing at me doing... Oh my God.
You think I'm God? What are you drinking? I want some.
Buttons?
That's my name. Don't wear it out in public.
Why are you here?
I was just this minding when you whiskey deal.
Oh, God. Oh. Have you been drinking?
Is a cardinal tell the truth? Hey, I lived in Ballarat. I was an altar boy in the Catholic Church. I was touched by the hand of God. Now the church pays me a lot of money. That's why I'm not alcoholic. They're laughing at me.
Buttons, how did you get in here?
I got in on my friend's ticket.
Where's your friend?
He's in the foyer looking for his ticket.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Buttons the Clown. I imagine he represents a part of my personality, the alcoholic in me, the part of me that just wants to forget about everything.
Who are you and what have you done with my self-esteem?
You drank it all away.
Is there any more?
Now, why are you here?
The Buttons talk.
Buttons talk.
They do? I'd give anything to see that. Is that the alien? I love the alien. I love you, alien man.
Don't be doing that, huh?
I love you so blue. Come on. I love you.
Okay.
I love the alien man. I love this voice.
Okay. Look, Buttons.
Look at those toes. No. You touch me again, I'll fucking kill you, clown. Now, I'll turn you inside out. Been there, done that.
Okay, look. Buttons, you're 3 sheets to the wind.
Ah, hell, I'm way off course.
So where are you headed?
Africa.
What's in Africa?
Africans. Little fuckers act like they live there.
Okay, well, we're doing a TED Talk, all right? And it's about the suspension of disbelief.
I love this disbelief. I was at the RE the other night, and I was.
What are you doing?
I'm just gonna get down.
Come here.
I want to get down.
Please. What are you doing?
I want to try to go talk to that lady right there.
But you can't stand up.
I think you're right.
Okay. I'd love to continue this intellectual conversation, but I'm afraid I'm in the middle of rehearsal right now.
You're in rehearsal. You don't know your show by now. We're all suck.
You just drink a lot, don't you?
Who says I drink a lot? I just had the ground come up and hit me in the face.
Why are you so weak?
'Cause a month is too long. I remember you, lady. She sat on my lap at the circus.
I don't think so, Buttons.
You like sausages.
That's enough. No TED Talk for you.
What?
Yeah, you're going in the trunk. We're going to take a short break and have a nice little interval. We'll see you right back here. You guys are so much fun. I'm having the best time. I really am. Thank you so much. Now, we're about to start the TED Talk, and I want you two to focus, please. Focus, both of you. All right, the suspension of disbelief. It's why we delight in the wonder of storytelling.
Refund, this movie sucks.
I've waited a good long time to try this experiment, folks. I'm going to break the laws of puppet physics tonight, and what you're going to see...
So this is the world you're creating, seriously?
What, you got a problem with this, Chuck?
I haven't seen this many tangled cords since your sister gave birth to quintuplets.
You just don't like the idea of not being in control.
Exactly. Nobody does, you flamboyant, unevolved tree monkey.
Now, this is the part of the show where I don't acknowledge the audience, but I know you're here.
Wishing they weren't. Folks, you didn't realize you signed up to this dickhead festival, did you?
You think this is easy what I do?
No, I'm not saying it's easy.
Thank you for once in my life, Chuck. Thank you for once.
I'm saying it's fucking stupid.
All right, we're almost ready here. And this is why we delight in the wonder of storytelling. Teddy, my inner child, the heart on my sleeve. How you doing, buddy? I am on your sleeve, and your hand goes in my head, and I love it there. It's like it's what I was born to do. How does my hand feel in your head? It fits like a glove. Okay. The wonder of storytelling allows us to believe in the incredible.
Yeah. We all heard this back in Act 1. Cut to the chase, will you?
Chuck, I'm stressed out as it is.
Calm down, Insanity Claus.
You're not helping.
Want a Valium?
You have Valium?
See me after the show.
Okay, where was I? We're relying on our devices to get information instead of using our memories, and I'm afraid we're losing our ability to imagine.
I'm losing my ability to listen to this shit,
and that will kill my show.
Can't beat a dead horse twice.
You don't get it. CGI and social media are taking over. I'm afraid my life's work will be nothing.
But your life's work is nothing. You're a ventriloquist. One notch below a juggler.
Is that where this is going, young man? Is that where you're taking this? Won't you just be nice for once? We got a show to do. Thank you, Teddy.
Then start the show already.
A show starting? Where? I love a good show. Dave, can you get me backstage? Can you get me tickets to see this fun show? Teddy, it's our show. It is? Yeah. All right, guys, we're about to start any moment. Why don't you just shake hands for good luck?
Yeah, right.
Go on. What? Oh, no, wait. Oh! He stabbed me! He stabbed me in the heart!
What the hell?
Oh my God, Teddy, my poor sweet Teddy! How could I have been so blind? Wait a minute, that didn't hurt. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Wait a minute. I'm not dead. Of course not. That was a fake knife to prove a point.
This is insane. How dare you program me to kill Teddy and not let me enjoy it?
I thought I was gonna die, or worse, never eat chocolates again. Do you see what I did, guys? Do you see what I did?
Yeah, you had me kill Teddy, you sick bastard.
No. I suspended everybody's disbelief.
Oh God, please make him stop.
You thought it was real, but it wasn't.
No, you tricked us. We then pranked the clever ventriloquist, seen it on YouTube 1,000 times.
I didn't prank you. I suspended disbelief. It's different.
I don't agree with that.
You don't have to agree with it.
Well, it's good, because I don't.
So we're in agreement?
We'll agree to disagree.
That doesn't make any sense.
Shut the fuck up, Teddy.
Okay, give me the fake knife. Let's move on.
I can't. It's glued to my hand.
Give me your hand. What?
Ah! Oh my God! I'm the one-armed pirate. Arr, there, laddie, arr, shittity jitters.
Shut the fuck up, Teddy. Okay, here we go. Okay, right side up. All right, how's that, Chuck? This is funny, Chuck.
Shut up, man.
How is it?
I can still see the R2-D2 aluminium wrist.
You mean C3PO?
Shut the fuck up, would you?
Okay, is that any better there, Chuck?
That'll do, Tig, that'll do.
Teddy, the whole fake knife and everything, did that scare you? Are you feeling okay? Well, Dave, all I remember is I saw a bright light.
Yeah, he was having an out-of-Teddy experience. He was staring at the stage lights, you idiot.
Yeah, stage lights. You out there, I'm gonna call you Snot.
Teddy, I'm gonna call you Dim.
Okay. Time to consult our panel of experts.
If they're experts, I'm Stephen Hawking. Want to play a game? Are we ready? How many cows am I mutilating? Just so you know, after the invasion, you all can have Tasmania. Hey, look at me. I'm in the front row of the Justin Bieber concert.
God, grant me the serenity to accept Thuckwits the way they are. Is visiting hours over? Did I miss anything? We haven't started yet, Fred. You started it.
Wait, I get it. What we're doing is taking the audience on a theatrical journey out of their normal world, like a fish out of money.
You idiot, it's fish out of water.
You're hanging with the wrong fish.
Okay, now that you all understand, let's put on a show that'll take this audience for a ride.
How are you going to operate at the same time, Chinese iPhone workers?
No. With this, I created a program which controls each one of you individually.
Nobody controls me.
Oh, really, Chuck?
Okay, you control me, I'm in.
Me too. Hi, Nin.
I'm in. I'm okay to go. I'm okay to go.
Hi, Nin.
I haven't done this in since my wedding night.
I'm scared, Dave. I want my there, Teddy, there, Teddy, there, there. Teddy, we're all scared, but that's the beauty of live theater. You, me, this audience, we're having this experience together. Teddy, we just have to have faith.
Wait, did you say face with a list? Hey, that's my line. I rest my case. You're out of order.
Objection!
Leading the witness, that's hearsay.
Okay. Order in the court.
That he's guilty.
What's the charge?
Misdemeanor.
Who's misdemeanor?
My girlfriend. I declare in this trial
Overruled.
that your honor, case dismissed.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this year's International Symposium for TED, Technology, Entertainment, and Design. Our first speaker for the evening comes from Los Angeles, California, and will be discussing the topic, the suspension of disbelief. Please welcome David Strassman.
The suspension of disbelief. Remember when you were a child, saw your first puppet show? Could have been a marionette, the strings clearly visible as the graceful puppet takes a bow. Or my very own teddy bear lying about eating chocolates. We know they're not real. We see the strings, my hand in Ted's back, but we watch with childlike wonder and truly believe they're alive.
Kill me now.
I'm David Strassman. What is it about puppets or a story with monsters or time travel that takes us away?
Somebody take me away.
Believing in fantasy forces our brains to conceptualize and distinguish the real world from the imagined one.
Is there a test on this later?
So, with all the CGI and technology out there, with the entire world just one click away, is it possible that technology is inhibiting our abilities to use our imaginations?
Land the plane.
That's Chuck. He's the voice in my head I use when I'm stuck in traffic.
Move your ass, dickhead.
That's the one. He's also the part of me that's afraid to grow up.
I'm not wearing any underwear.
He's so funny. How can they say what he's saying if you're just talking all the time, Chuck?
Ah, the idiot without a village.
This is Teddy Bear, my inner child. Could someone just give me some chocolates?
Could someone just shoot me in the back of my fucking head? Swearing is not allowed in a TED Talk, Chuck.
Oh yeah, eat me.
Amazing. Sexual imagery without cursing, well played.
This is Kevin, the database in my head.
Yes, I'm your inner Yoda, yes. Oh, that grammar has I, Master Luke, yes. And look at me, I'm your inner Wookiee.
And this is Sid, my inner class clown.
That's right, two blind men walk into a bar, and a table, and a chair. Hello, Canberra, hello. Back in my day, jokes were funny. Back in your day, jokes are hieroglyphics.
Hi, Fred. Glad to be alive. This is Grandpa Fred. Am I alive? My father figure. Fred, any fatherly advice for us tonight?
Yes. Never make eye contact when you're eating a banana.
Is that for women or men?
These days, both. I know a girl so shy, she licks a banana sideways.
Okay, all right. This is, after all, a TED Talk. Teddy, what's your take on technology and the suspension of disbelief?
Oh, this is gonna be fucking good.
Oh, Dave, I can't really say because Well, I'm not even real. What? What? Huh?
Huh?
He? What? Huh?
Huh?
He?
He? Huh? That's my voice, Fred.
Sorry. Wait. What do you mean you're not real? Well, Chuck said I'm just a stuffed teddy bear, and you do my voice, and I don't have a soul, and I'm not real. I just want to lie down and cry.
Of course you're real. He's no more real than those chicks in Frozen I want to root.
The audience and I think you're real, right, folks?
The fact that we're not real is starting to affect my sense of reality.
How?
I can't feel my nuts. Come in off the ledge, Gramps. Why, if I was 20 years younger, you'd be 100. If I was 100 years younger and had hands, I'd snack you clear in the middle of next week. Hey, Walking Dead, party on your table is waiting. Leave the old guy alone. He's got one foot in the grave and one hand down his pants.
Hey, you can't talk like that about Fred.
I was talking like that about you. Hey, you can't talk like that about Dave. Hey, you can't talk like that about Sid. Hey, you can't talk like that about who the hell are we talking about? When I was a child. Hey, stop! All of you, stop!
I just want to say I love Australia. And chocolates and pink fluffy unicorns dancing on rainbows.
Can I get a word in edgewise? E.T., go home.
What is it, Kevin?
Shouldn't we be talking about how technology is hurting our imaginations? Imagine that. Like that's gonna happen. I use my imagination every night. Am I right, guys? Yeah, there's this a kid and a gal I keep fantasizing about. Ooh, that could hurt.
And without our imaginations, live shows, my show, could be in jeopardy. Yeah. It's like the Lego movie. I thought those Lego guys were singing real songs.
You fucking idiot. They were lip syncing, Teddy.
Chuck, don't play dumb. I know you get this.
Yeah, I get it. Your theory is wrong.
How am I wrong?
Let me count thy ways.
No, really.
Take global warming.
What about global warming?
We all know it's real, but we use our imagination and suspend our belief and pretend it's not there. Alas, poor New York, I knew it well. Goodbye, low-lying coastal cities like Meldon, Sydney, Canberra.
Gee, Chuck, they don't know their own geography.
This is absolutely ridiculous. Don't confuse imagination with denial, you halfway house returnites. I'm not, you arrogant space lizard. Imagination is not in danger. I'm imagining this audience are a bunch of fucking geniuses. That's an insult, folks.
I'm afraid technology does the thinking for us and it desensitizes us, and shows like mine are in trouble. I mean, is it wrong to want to entertain audiences and inspire them with the magic of theater?
Magic? You're going to start doing kids' parties again? I'd rather work at a shit farm. Kids' parties are a shit farm.
But I love performing magic.
Magic's why you became an entertainer to begin with, son.
It's true. My manager said I was a natural.
He's still in jail, right?
He touched me weird.
We were always the attention getter.
That's true.
Because he couldn't cut it in the real world.
Now wait just a minute there.
And doing magic tricks made the school bullies like you.
Yeah, remember when we ran away from home?
I went camping because your parents were drunk all the time.
What? What are you saying? No, I used to put on shows for the whole neighborhood.
Because there was no love at home.
Because there was no love at... What? What are you... No, I had a great childhood.
Like when you set the house on fire?
That was an accident.
Also see, cry for help. Because when you looked in the mirror...
All right, where's that Valium?
You didn't like what we saw.
Okay, This is actually part of the show because you became the bully to your little brother. But I love my little brother. Then how come when he came home from the hospital, you nailed his bassinet to the ceiling? Okay, that was a very complicated project. He replaced you as the lady in the family. Okay, this actually is a glitch. You did nothing but play tricks on that poor kid. I love that kid. You pushed him down
When no one was looking.
You didn't want your little brother around. You wanted him dead. What are you saying? This is a TED Talk. You guys, you know what? You get out of my head! No, you see, that's what I was trying to suspend your, take you on a journey out of your world. But I got lost. I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry you had to see that. I kind of got out of character there, and I had a flashback, and I'm going to be honest, I need more therapy. Is that what the kids are calling rehab these days? I'm not in rehab. You're crazy as a coconut. Oh, I think I'm losing faith. Did you say faith with Chuck? Faith in this show?
Fear that technology
Somehow replaces imagination and magic and mystery and me. You had a good run, Strasso. What's going on, Chuck? You said if they got weird to pull the plug. I never said that. All I did, and I'm you. So, Chuck, humans are emotional. You're just a voice in my head. You have no idea how I'm feeling. I'm just a voice in your head. You're just a pain in my ass. Really? I'm sorry. No, it's okay. Sorry, I didn't know you're such a fucking lady. I didn't want it to end this way. It doesn't have to. You mean there could be hope? There can be a happily ever after? What do you mean a happily ever? What are you talking about, Teddy? Oh my God, wait a minute. Cut! Stop the show!
Oh, it's so obvious.
And I didn't even see it. See what? Oh, it's there. It's there the whole time, Dave. What's there? What are you guys talking about? Oh my God. Holy hell, Strasso. Holy hell. What?
Your hand. Look in your hand.
My hand. Oh my God. The remote. Of course, the remote. Did the remote make you snack your head? It's the remote for controlling you guys.
Unreal. Fascinating.
I'm scared. Hey, think I threw up the night house a little? So, I'll tell you so. The remote is technology. Oh, I get it! I had it.
You mean we've been wireless the whole time?
As wireless as a drone staying on your naked neighbor. So he's like sabotaging his own show? I have. I've been unconsciously using the very technology I've been afraid of the whole time.
And this is the hidden meaning behind everything?
So there is a hidden meaning?
And what is it?
It's a secret. No, it's coexistence.
Say what? Sure. Like, harmony.
Yeah, like Nan and the Sheen, or Ladies and Gentlemen. Young and old, imagination and technology, they can live together, just like the Aussies and the Kiwis. No, wait a minute, wait. I've crossed a line here. Oh, I crossed a line once too, Dave. That's not that big a deal. I'm having trouble accepting this.
Perhaps if you suspended your own belief for a moment, David.
My own belief? Yeah. Technology won't kill the magic as long as you believe in yourself. What a great lesson, just like a Christian ministry. I wouldn't exist if you didn't believe in me. That's beyond belief. Yeah, if you don't believe in me, I'm going to get on my Harley and ride all the way to Wagga Wagga.
Yeah, that's believable.
Yeah, and I'm just going to eat so much chocolate that I'm going to fall asleep and dream of chocolates.
Strassman, do you realize you're standing there in front of the group of strangers, having a conversation with yourself about what's real and what isn't?
How do I get out of this?
Same way you got into it, get a psychiatrist to declare you a fucking psycho and hand you a ventriloquist doll.
No. I'll leave it up to you. Although our time's been brief, I thank you all for coming tonight and suspending your disbelief. You've been a wonderful audience. Thank you so much. You want a little more? Hit it!
They say such tension of the leaf is something that is all too brief. That there is something underneath that stirs imagination.
If happy little bluebirds fly,
The honesty of light, says I.
then shooter nan can then deny the laws of gravitation.
Sometimes in life, reality is not all that it's seeming.
But if there's magic,
We agree it's something worth achieving.
so when things can't really get much worse, just find a place you can immerse and fly across the universe. When you use your imagination,
Good vibrations.
I love chocolate.
I don't believe in creation. Where the hell are we?
Imagination. I love you. You're gonna love the most people. I want chocolate.
Thank you. Shut up.
I love you. Good night. Good night, everybody. I love you.